Hello and welcome to the first ever edition of the Lords of Football Show. So with me today I've got Rich Fisher. Rich is a Forest supporter.
Some of us have to be.
Rich, what's your memory like?
Pretty good, I'd say.
Okay, can you remember the last time Forest won a game?
Oh, well, I didn't say it was that good.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about some of the things that we've actually got on Facebook at the moment. Who do you think is the best European manager in football at the moment?
It's a good question. I think there's obviously quite a few candidates. I think you can't overlook Ferguson. But for me, just in terms of striking the complete balance between success and great football, it's hard to look beyond Pep Guardiola at Barcelona.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are actually sort of voting for him in the poll at the moment. But what about the likes of Roberto Mancini? I mean, you know, surely if he's keeping Manchester City at the top and he's holding off Manchester United, good candidate?
You can't argue with he's getting the points on the board and City are right up there. It would be interesting to see if he could go and cut it at another club without the amount of money he's had to spend at Manchester City. So for me, the jury's still out as to whether he is a truly great manager.
Okay, so we're both sitting here looking quite well dressed. I've got my Lords of Football t-shirt on. You've got your Nottingham Forest European Cup winner, Munich 1979. Was I even born? Were you even born?
Well, I was born that year,
you
about
were born that year.
5 months later.
But talking about the way we're dressed, best dressed managers in football. How important is it that managers look really good nowadays? And who do you think is the best dressed manager in football at the moment?
Well, I think it is. It's obviously not important in the grand scheme of things, but I think football fans do like those little side attractions, which are things to talk about down the pub. Whereas when we had Mourinho in Britain working at Chelsea, you know, what he wore was always a talking point. I think it's hard to look past him, to be honest. He's somebody that always cuts a bit of a dash, always looks good, whether on the training ground or on the touchline.
Something else that's really big on Facebook, on the Lords of Football page at the moment, is a piece where you can actually ask Gianluca Vialli a question.
I'd like to ask him what advice he would give to the current Chelsea manager. Knowing the pressures of a club like Chelsea, I was wondering what Gianluca would say to Andreas Villas-Boas.
Obviously we've been talking about the game, the real life game. There is a game coming out this year called Lords of Football. Basically it's touted as their lives, your choices. It's not all about just picking a team and picking the formation and sending them out and winning things. It's about how you manage them off the field as well. What do you think about a game like that?
I think it's a great concept. Obviously the manager-based games have been done to death in their various formats that have been over the years. And it's a reflection as to what football's like these days for managers, because you look at Mancini, for example, at Manchester City. I mean, yeah, he's got to pick the team and sort out the training with old David Platt, bless him. But actually, some of the biggest problems he's had is, you know, what his players are doing off the pitch in their own time. You know, you've got Tevez sulking off back to South America.
Yeah.
You've got Balotelli running amok over Manchester, trying to pay students library fines if the rumours are to believe him. And goodness knows what else, letting off fireworks from his utility room or whatever it was. And yeah, I mean that aspect of actually, you know, controlling your players, keeping them on the straight and narrow.
It's interesting to actually see a game come out now where it's not all about just picking the tactics or just going like that with a controller trying to win a game. It's, you know, I think there's a lot more thought going to go into it now, that you've got to think, where is my player? And you've got to go and find him. He's down the pub, or you've got, you know, maybe you can have a drink with him and then he turn up drunk for training the following day. And how do you handle that? You know, and obviously how you handle players off the field is just as important as how you handle them on the field nowadays.
Absolutely. I think the game's become even more about man management these days. You've got these such big and quite fragile egos to deal with.
Well, Rich, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me today, and see you again soon.
Yeah. Are we going to do the handshake, or are we Suarez? Yeah.
No, we will. Just grab and walk off. Yeah, I'll do a bit of that. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed our first show. Hopefully there'll be many, many more. And out on Facebook very soon, we'll be actually putting some questions out that you can actually fire back at us, and we can actually answer them online for you. And if we continue, hopefully in this show as well. Thanks for joining us. Good night.